For a closer look at China's economy, let's bring in Yan Liang. She is an economics professor at Willamette University from Oregon, and she's joining us from New York. Good to have you. Welcome to the show. Let me start with these export numbers that were better than expected. Explain to, I guess, a non-business person why this is so important.
Yeah, great talk to you. I think the most significant factor for this 16.9% increase in export this month was largely due to the easing of the lockdown and other COVID restriction measures in Shanghai and many other places in China. So we have heard the reporter talked about, the industrial production has resumed, the port capacity has gone up and almost returned to 95% of the daily container throughput. So all of these help to produce and export all these products. The foreign demand remains strong, even though that could possibly change as the U.S. and other, also ECB, right, started to have the rate hikes, and that could slow down the economy and reduce demand. But that said, I think the Chinese price competitiveness is still a very significant factor to continue to boost the demand. So as soon as the supply is resumed and restored, then we do see this large increase in trade.
I know from talking to manufacturers who order things from China that one of the challenges is, one, shipping, two, getting orders in a reasonable amount of time. And with the lockdowns now easing, all of these should be much, much better, right? How do we address the supply chain issue when it comes to getting products quickly, whether it's to the U.S. or to Europe? Should manufacturers be perhaps a little more patient?
Right. So I think for one, again, smart implementation of COVID restrictions is very important. So I think now that the easing it's on the way, it's very helpful to restore that supply chain. And for two, I think China has been building up its supply chain resilience and has built a really complete supply chain within China, and also with regional partners, many of the ASEAN countries, which remain the largest trading partner with China. So that regional supply chain is also very important. And last but not the least, I think the Chinese government has put out many measures to try to increase export support, try to implement more trade fairs online to help to connect the export buyers, and also to promote the products. So all of these three important factors, right, I think, help to build that supply chain resilience.
One of the issues that we've had here on stateside, as you know, is there's a lack of stuff to buy. At least that was the case a little while ago. And so things cost more money because it was hard to get goods from China. Now that China is back revving up again, the supply of goods will, I'm sure, increase greatly. Won't that help with the inflation problem, not just in the U.S., but around the world?
Yes, absolutely. Given that China's inflation rate has remained really low, the latest number in April is 2.1%, and the new inflation rate number is going to come out Friday this week. It's likely that there is a small increase in China's inflation rate, maybe 2.3%. That is still much, much lower than the U.S.'s 8.4%. So you're right. I think with the smooth supply of these industrial and consumer goods from China, this does help to contain inflation in the U.S. and elsewhere. That said, I think it's also important, again, for Biden's administration, which they have been talking about considering lifting some of the trade war tariffs, and that would definitely be helpful as well.
Right. I know you and I are not going to predict the future of COVID, right? Because nobody can, apparently. But that said, do you think with this recent round of lockdowns, will the next set, if there are lockdowns in the future, do you think they'll be perhaps more mild, or there'll be more consideration in terms of for the manufacturers in China to keep the disruption of goods flowing back and forth to minimize that disruption?
Right. I am quite optimistic. For one, is now the local governments around China have tried very hard to boost the vaccination rates, and once that is being sort of rolled out, more people, especially the elderly, are getting vaccines. Then I think that would definitely help to contain the spread and the severity of the pandemic. Also, there has been some sort of words about the Chinese vaccines against Omicron specific type of vaccine will be rolled out as early as October. So again, I think with vaccines and with the continued development of treatment plans and so on, I think we'll have a better position to deal with COVID. Not to mention, I do think that there are many lessons to be learned in terms of how to maintain the logistics and also some delivery services during lockdown. So hopefully these lessons will be learned, so then if there will be a lockdown, it will be better and easier for people to cope.
Yeah, fascinating conversation. Yan Liang, professor at Willamette University, coming to us from New York. Really appreciate it. I wish we had more time on this. It's just a fascinating topic.
Thank you for having me.